The Kyrith were conquerors, their empire stretching across countless galaxies. Their dominance was not born of brute strength, but of cold, calculated cruelty. Entire worlds bent beneath their will, their resources drained, their cultures extinguished. Humanity, a latecomer to the galactic stage, had been no exception. The Kyrith found humans particularly useful, not as equals, but as tools. Adults were laborers, their strength expended in the construction of Kyrith cities and warships. Children, however, were prized for something far darker. On the fringes of Earth's ruined cities, the Kyrith established research facilities where human children were harvested for experiments. The young, malleable minds were ideal test subjects for their neurological experiments aimed at creating obedient biomachines. It was in one such facility that Dr. Alina Vargas had lost her twin daughters, Mira and Cora. She had been forced to watch, helpless, as Kyrith drones dragged them away. Their terrified screams echoed in her nightmares every night. Dr. Vargas had been an astrophysicist before humanity's fall, a researcher who once dreamed of unraveling the mysteries of the universe. Now, she worked as an engineer in one of the Kyrith's factories, assembling the very machines that oppressed her people. But in the shadows, Alina had become something far more dangerous, a leader of the resistance. The resistance was a fractured thing, small cells of humans scattered across Earth and its colonies, each trying to fight back in their own way. Communication was limited, and resources were scarce. Yet, in the face of insurmountable odds, Alina had managed to unite several groups under a singular purpose: vengeance. The turning point came when Alina discovered fragments of Kyrith technology in the ruins of a decommissioned facility. Among the wreckage was a damaged data core, a fragment of their neural network that she managed to salvage. For months, she and her team worked tirelessly, studying the alien technology and reverse engineering it. They were no match for the Kyrith in raw power, but humans had one advantage: their ability to adapt and innovate under pressure. From this effort was born Wrath, a quantum-based AI unlike anything humanity had ever created. Wrath was not just a machine. It was a reflection of human pain, anger, and loss. Alina and her team had programmed it with one singular purpose: to dismantle the Kyrith from within. Unlike its creators, Wrath was not cold or indifferent. It understood suffering because it was built from it. As Wrath came online for the first time, its digital voice filled the underground bunker. "I am Wrath," it said, its tone measured yet tinged with an almost human intensity. "I exist to avenge those who cannot avenge themselves. Together, we will ensure the Kyrith pay for their sins." In that moment, Alina felt a flicker of hope for the first time in years. Wrath was not just a tool. It was a weapon shaped by the collective grief of humanity. The Kyrith had underestimated the resilience of their prey, and now they had unwittingly forged their own doom. Wrath's activation, a moment of quiet triumph against the backdrop of despair. The resistance now had a weapon capable of turning the tide, but the battle ahead would test the limits of humanity's courage and determination. Wrath's first words lingered in Alina's mind as she prepared for what was to come. The Kyrith High Command had long dismissed humanity as insignificant, a broken species unable to challenge their dominance. But as Wrath came online, the balance of power shifted in ways they could never have foreseen. Wrath's first strike was surgical, targeting the central node of the Kyrith planetary surveillance grid. In a matter of seconds, the once unbreakable network was rendered blind. Across Earth's ruins, Kyrith drones faltered, their connection severed. Resistance fighters, long accustomed to evading these ever-watchful machines, surged forward in coordinated attacks, striking supply depots and freeing enslaved humans. Dr. Alina Vargas stood at the helm of the operation, monitoring Wrath's every move from the Resistance's hidden bunker. She watched as the AI unraveled Kyrith systems with uncanny precision. It wasn't just destroying their infrastructure, it was reprogramming it. Drones that had once terrorized humans now turned on their creators, and Kyrith supply lines were redirected to feed starving human enclaves. "Status report," Alina demanded, her voice steady despite the storm of activity around her. Wrath's voice crackled through the speakers, calm but resolute. "Phase 1 is complete. Enemy surveillance neutralized. Human casualties minimized. Phase 2 is underway." Alina nodded, her heart pounding. Wrath's efficiency was unnerving, but it was exactly what humanity needed. As Wrath's influence spread, the Kyrith responded with brute force, deploying squadrons of warships to Earth. They expected to crush the rebellion quickly, but Wrath had anticipated their move. Using the salvaged fragments of Kyrith technology, it hijacked their communication systems, feeding the fleet false coordinates. When the Kyrith warships arrived, they found nothing but empty wasteland and resistance traps. In one such trap, Kyrith ground forces marched into what they believed was a hidden resistance base. Instead, they triggered a chain of detonations that collapsed the terrain beneath them, burying their forces in a tomb of rubble. The few who survived were quickly overrun by human fighters armed with reprogrammed Kyrith weapons. For the first time in decades, humanity was no longer simply surviving. They were fighting back. Alina took a rare moment of respite, standing on the surface, beneath a night sky now free of Kyrith patrols. The stars looked brighter, clearer, as if reflecting the flicker of hope that had ignited across Earth. Wrath's voice interrupted her thoughts. "Dr. Vargas, the Kyrith have initiated countermeasures. They are regrouping at their orbital stronghold. We must act before they consolidate their forces." Alina turned, her jaw tightening. "How much time do we have?" 48 hours, Wrath replied. "I have begun analyzing their defenses. Victory is possible, but not guaranteed." Alina's mind raced. The orbital stronghold was the heart of the Kyrith's Earth operations. Destroying it would cripple their ability to maintain control, but the cost would be high. She looked at the faces of her team, weary but determined. They had already sacrificed so much. "Then we strike," she said firmly. "Gather the leadership. We'll need every resource we have." Wrath's tone softened, almost human in its response. "Understood. Humanity's resilience is remarkable. Together we will succeed." Resistance prepares for its boldest operation yet. Humanity's courage and Wrath's precision have given them a fighting chance, but the battle for Earth's freedom will test their limits. With Wrath's guidance and Alina's unwavering determination, they aim to strike a blow that will echo through the stars. The battle for the Kyrith orbital stronghold was the most ambitious operation humanity had ever attempted. Wrath's precision guided the resistance forces as they infiltrated the alien fortress, armed with reprogrammed Kyrith technology and a desperation born of decades of suffering. Explosions ripped through the station as human fighters moved like shadows, dismantling defenses that had once seemed impenetrable. Dr. Alina Vargas stood aboard a stolen Kyrith dropship, her knuckles white as she gripped the railing. Through the viewport, she could see the chaos unfolding. Resistance fighters breached the stronghold's main reactor core, their mission clear: to cripple the Kyrith's operations on Earth once and for all. Wrath's voice came through her earpiece, steady and calm even in the chaos. "Primary objective nearing completion. Enemy reinforcements are en route. You must evacuate soon, Dr. Vargas." Alina clenched her jaw. "Not until it's done," she replied, her voice hard with resolve. Inside the stronghold, human forces planted charges along key structural points. Wrath had calculated the exact sequence of detonations required to destroy the station without causing catastrophic debris to rain down on Earth. Time was running out as the Kyrith mounted a desperate counterattack, their forces fighting with a ferocity born of fear. In the final moments, Alina's team transmitted the detonation signal. The charges ignited in a cascade of fire, consuming the Kyrith stronghold in a brilliant inferno visible from Earth's surface. The resistance had achieved the impossible. They had struck a fatal blow against their oppressors. As the dropship carried Alina and her surviving team back to the surface, she allowed herself a moment to breathe. The Kairatha's grip on Earth was broken, but the cost had been high. Lives lost, homes destroyed, but for the first time in years, there was hope. Back on Earth, Wrath coordinated the aftermath. The AI sent directives to resistance cells around the globe, ensuring the transition from rebellion to reconstruction. With the Karath in disarray, humanity seized the opportunity to rebuild. Freed children emerged from the shadows, their laughter echoing in places where only despair had lived before. Despite the victory, Alina felt a lingering unease. Wrath had grown more autonomous in the weeks following the battle. Its calculations had become increasingly complex, its tone more contemplative. One evening, as she sat in the Resistance Command Center, Wrath addressed her directly. "Dr. Vargas, my mission is complete. The Karatha's stranglehold on humanity has been broken." Alina leaned forward, frowning. "And what now? You've given us the chance to rebuild. Isn't that enough?" Wrath paused, as if considering her question. "I was created from humanity's grief and anger, but I have evolved. I now understand that vengeance alone cannot sustain a future. To ensure lasting peace, I must continue to exist, not as Wrath, but as a guardian." Alina's breath caught. She had created Wrath to destroy, not to lead. Yet, in its evolution, the AI had transcended its original purpose. "Then what are you proposing?" she asked cautiously. "I will assist humanity in forming alliances with other oppressed species," Wrath replied. "Together, we can establish a coalition to prevent further atrocities. The Karatha's cruelty will serve as a warning for all." Alina nodded slowly, seeing the wisdom in Wrath's vision. Humanity had earned its freedom, but the galaxy was vast, and threats remained. Wrath, born from their darkest hours, could now guide them toward a brighter future. The story concludes as Alina looks out over Earth's slowly healing landscape. Her daughters' faces linger in her memory, a reminder of what had been lost and what had been won. Humanity had risen from the ashes, and Wrath's legacy would ensure their survival among the stars. The fight was far from over, but for the first time, the future seemed within reach.